Well, I think I'll start with my parents because from the very beginning, they've always been there for me and always supported me, whether it be 3-year-old T-ball or all the way up to now. They kind of made it clear that my dream was their dream, which was super cool. So there were a lot of things that, they did for me, taking me to all my, travel games, playing wiffle ball in the backyard. I'd forget my cleats at home. My mom would run home and go get them so I could play in the game, whatever it be. Just throughout high school, they've supported my dream like no other, and they've always wanted the best for me. So I think my parents are probably the two most influential people of my entire baseball career. Definitely would not be here without them and the sacrifices that they've made. I think the biggest thing was their accountability that they had for me. I remember my first back injury.
I'd never experienced anything like this, so it was new for my parents too, but they took it just as seriously as I did, and were really good at holding me accountable for things like, my exercises, so I can get back on the field, all that stuff. But even as high school went on, the accountability went way past just, PT exercises. It was all the little things. They did it with all my injuries. I'm still getting injured to this day, but my food and my sleep and my water are things that they're really big on. My mom and I have this little friendly competition we both have our gallon jugs. So we just like to see how many days in a row we can go with drinking a whole jug. And my mom's really big on getting enough sleep, especially on days where I know I'm training the next day and things like that, because it's really important. And then especially my food. And this dates back to when you and I sat in your office when I was 14, and I told you I wanted to play college baseball, and you can't play college baseball looking like that. So you kind of, set the tone for the things I needed to do when I was about 6'3", $150, and that I needed to eat more. And so when I went back and told my mom that, she looked at it as almost a challenge for herself. And so, she took it head on, and so she became really good at making sure I had enough food prepped. And at that time, I had to gain a lot of weight because I was really behind on weight. And so you gave me the PB&J diet, and so we were going through a loaf of bread a day. And in between each class of my freshman year, I'd be pounding a PB&J, and the looks I got in the hallways were just priceless. But I knew exactly what I was doing. And so I couldn't have done that without my mom, her cooking and all the time she put into meal prep and all that stuff. And so, I got put on the weight that I was supposed to put on, and now I'm a lot heavier than I was then. So I couldn't have done it without her, and I still can't do it without her. Every day she's still making sure I'm putting the right food in my body and making sure I'm getting enough food to maintain my weight and all that stuff. And so she plays a major role in what I do in this facility and on the field, and no one else really sees that, but I couldn't do it without her. I'll do a quick shout out for Joe Schwellenbach. He was my youth coach growing up all the way through travel ball, and really gave me one of the greatest experiences in baseball. And I know of a lot of kids who didn't have as great of an experience because of, a certain coach or something like that. But that was never an issue with him. And I can't remember how old I was, but there was a point where early on where I didn't want to play baseball anymore. I just didn't think it was for me. And he sat me and my dad down and begged me to keep playing and convinced, you have to keep playing. Because I guess he saw something in me that I didn't see myself. Obviously without him, I probably wouldn't be here. So I think about that a lot because, I could have changed everything, but thank goodness he convinced me. Another thing about Joe Schwellenbach is, had no idea that this place even existed at first. And I was big on, obviously I'm a pitcher, and I was, even at a young age, I always wanted to get better. And he introduced me to this place. It was like, they have a guy over there, his name's Joe Zorn, and he's gonna get you really good, but he's not all soft and fluffy. And my mom didn't care. She knew I could handle it, because I handle my parents every day. And so she sent me over here to this place, and the first time I ever stepped foot in this facility was pitching lesson with Joe Zorn. And I would have never known about this place, but that's how it all started. I had just pitching lessons here once a week, and then eventually Joe Zorn was like, you should play on one of our fall teams. And so my first fall was in 7th grade, and the rest is kind of history. So